Miami. Good morning, Miami Beach.
Good morning. Thank you for C-SPAN. I watch it every day. I would just like to say that I had occasion the other day to spend an entire day with troops that had come back from Iraq and had been wounded. And I also visited troops during the Vietnam era. But the thing that I was most shocked by, as I was walking into the hospital, the first person I ran into was a boy that was about 19 or 20 years old who'd lost both of his arms. And when I walked into the hospital and visited all these boys all day long, everyone had lost either one limb or two limbs, or had lost one limb, and there were a lot of legs that seemed to be missing, and a couple of the boys told me was because that their vehicles are the rockets pierce the vehicles so much, and he said it's like being kind of in a tin can. It doesn't have there's the walls of the Humvees and things are very soft, and there's no protection. But three guys in the same vehicle had lost a leg. And another thing that I saw was that if they'd lost one leg, that the shrapnel that had hit the other leg had been so devastating that they were having to pull, like, the thigh, the muscle in the thigh around to the bottom of the calf to try to make the leg workable. But in some cases, these boys had lost one leg, and the other leg was so damaged that they weren't sure what they were going to be able to do.
Where did you spend the day?
Walter Reed.
And you're down in Miami Beach, back in Miami Beach?
I'm down here today.
What were you doing at Walter Reed? Are you a volunteer? Or?
No, I just was asked to come and spend the day. I was working that day in Washington, D.C.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm an entertainer.
Oh, what kind of entertaining? Are you USO?
No, I actually was called by the USO, but I'm an entertainer. I don't want to go much past that. But
is this Cher?
Yeah.
Okay. And you spent the day at Walter Reed?
Yeah, and I spent the day with. I mean, they were great guys, and the men that took me around were in the services. They were fabulous men, Mike and John, and these boys had unbelievable courage, and they still said, for the most part, they were glad that they did it. They felt that it was their duty, and there were a few of the National Guards that felt it was their duty once they were over there, but they wondered why they were taken out of America to spend that much time as actual servicemen when they really felt that their job was to be, protecting this country. But I have to say that they had the most unbelievable courage, and it took everything that I have as a person to not, break down while I was talking to these guys. But I just think if there was no reason for this war, this was the most heinous thing I've ever seen. And also, I wonder why. Why are none of Cheney, Wolfowitz, Bremer, the president, why aren't they taking pictures with all these guys? Because I don't understand why these guys are so hidden, and why there aren't pictures of them. Because, talking about the dead and the wounded, that's two different things, but these wounded are so devastatedly wounded, that I think that the wounded, it's unbelievable. It was just unbelievable to me. And I'm an independent, but Are
you supporting anyone yet for 2004? You supported Ross Perot, correct, in '92?
Yeah, I mean, when I heard him talk right in the beginning, I thought that maybe he would bring some sort of more common sense business approach and also less partisanship. But then, of course, I was, completely disappointed like everyone else when he just kind of cut and run, and no one knew exactly why, being that maybe he couldn't have withstood all the investigation that would have goes on now. But you know, I'm not a Bush supporter, that's for sure, and I'm definitely not Ashcroft or Cheney or any of them. But I would just like to see them have, you know, if you're going to send these people to war, then don't hide them, you know, and have some news coverage where people are sitting and talking to these guys and seeing how they are and seeing their spirit. And it's just, I think it's a crime.
Were you, when you were up here for your farewell concert earlier this month, is that when you went to Walter Reed?
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for your time this morning. Thanks for watching.
All right, I have to tell you, I watch you every day, and I really appreciate it because I go all over the world, and I must say that the news that we get in America has nothing to do with the news that you get outside of this country, and I think that's why people don't people don't understand why so many of the allies did not, you know, our usual allies did not join this, because if you get outside of the United States, you hear a different kind of news, you know, and so.
What's your favorite news source outside the U.S.?
Well, there's a source that I really like inside the U.S. That gives you special documentaries called WorldLink. But I think my favorite source outside of the U.S. is BBC, because they are our allies, but you still get on the nightly news, you get, you know, much more coverage, and I think much more honest coverage. I don't know, I guess they're not, well, they're independent, so they're not owned by any of the major corporations that are, you know, have vested interest in this war.
Thanks for your call this morning.
Okay, thank you.
Rome, Ohio, on our Support the War line. Good morning.
Good morning.
What are your thoughts this morning?